Sometimes in alien abduction stories and other contact experiences, the beings use wands. Why do they use wands? And is this maybe kind of an encouraging sign? Well, let's investigate. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, in a post from Ruby, Mario Woods, former U.S. Air Force security responder. Many of you will be familiar with Mario. Mario and his partner, Michael Johnson, were abducted while on duty performing a routine nuclear missile site operation at Ellsworth Air Force Base in 1977. And here is what he says about his experience with these beings, or at least part of it, focusing on the wand.
And as I'm blacking out, I know I feel something on my right side. And I turn my head and I see these four, I'm going to call them beings. And they are not walking as you and I walk. They are just gliding across the ground, maybe, I don't know how high off the ground. I couldn't really see that. But they have these little uniforms on. And the one on the far right, he had some type of a small wand in his waist belt. I've got a drawing of it that had a yellow tip on it, some type of a yellow tip. And it really got my attention. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. But the one behind those three, the front three were the same size, exactly the same size, looked exactly the same. But the one behind them was a chest and a head taller than the little guys. And he had this thing on his chest right here that pulsated the same color as what was on that little wand. And when I saw him, then I was afraid. Then I felt fear. Maybe just visualized fear. I don't know. They didn't do anything to me that caused fear other than where I was and what I'd just gone through.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be enough. But there you go. These beings were wielding wands. And that's certainly not the only time that has happened. Here's Whitley Strieber recounting one of his experiences.
When he sees I see him, he comes over to the bed. He looks mean. He's little. Goes up to about the top of the lamp, looking down on me. Got eyes, big slanted eyes, a bald head. He's looking down on me. He's got a ruler in his hand, has a tip of silver. Touches me, I see pictures. Long pause.
Yeah, so he's actually made to see apocalyptic visions. Sometimes the beings make people see apocalyptic visions. Seems to be various reasons behind that. Often it's an environmental message. But yeah, there you go. Whitley talking about his own experiences with beings and wands. Of course, Grok was able to pull up various other encounters from one is from 1932. Brothers Leo and Mike. I'm not gonna say. Okay. Just for you guys, I'm gonna give this name a shot. Dwarshak. Pretty good, right? Pretty good. Okay. I like that. Okay, Leon and Mike Dwarshak, then children, reported an encounter while playing in a remote area near Killdeer Mountain, North Dakota. They described human-like non-intelligences who emerged from a craft. One being pointed a wand or stick-like device at a cow, causing it to freeze in place, unable to move until the being departed. The beings reportedly spoke telepathically, hinting that they walk among us. Yeah, not the first time we've heard about that, right? But yeah, Travis Walton, abducted while logging in Stitchgreaves National Forest, described waking aboard a craft surrounded by small gray beings. One used a wand-like device, possibly a light-emitting tool to subdue or examine him, before he blacked out again. Yeah, these things often seem to use to paralyze or subdue people, very interestingly. In Whitley's case, it gave him an apocalyptic vision, so interacting with his consciousness in some fashion. Although Grok also says it was used to paralyze him. Billy Meyer, very controversial case. I'm still on the fence about that, but I think there is some, you never know. You never know. I think that Billy might actually be legit. But Billy Meyer, a Swiss contactee, claimed regular interactions with Pleiadian beings. While his account accounts focus heavily on telepathy and advanced technology. Some descriptions include beings using slender metallic devices, sometimes likened to wands, to demonstrate technological feats or heal minor ailments during meetings. In DMT experiences, people will see the machine elves sometimes, who sometimes wield wand-like objects. Aleister Crowley was interacting with Aiwass, the entity Aiwass. He was holding a staff or wand-like object. So, in the ancient, the Aboriginal Australian Wandjina stories, they are apparently sometimes depicted as holding wands. Now, I tried to find some pictures of these guys holding wands. I couldn't do it, but I think many of you will be familiar with these owl-like looking alien beings depicted by the Aborigines of Australia. So these beings, in many different accounts, across dimensions even, going back a long ways, are depicted using wands or staffs. And you have to wonder, because so much of human mythology seems based around, contact experiences. What if some of our ancient depictions in our ancient mythologies about beings or gods, priests, whatever, wielding staffs or wands are actually inspired by those legitimate contact experiences? Here's Circe wielding a staff to turn men into pigs in the Odyssey, the Odysseus. So, obviously that's a fictional encounter, a fictional, narrative, but was the depiction of Circe, the goddess, wielding a staff inspired by, NHI wielding wands or staffs. Heck, maybe Circe was real and she did wield a staff. I think it's Tom DeLonge that talks about how he believes the Greek gods were actually NHI and they might still be around. So, intriguing, right? What does all this mean? And, where do we go from there? If beings are using staffs and wands for various purposes across, thousands of years potentially, and even influencing potentially our culture. How many, depictions of wizards and witches wielding wands and staff do we have, right? A lot. So if this is real and if this is where we got that idea, this one thing has influenced our culture a great deal. Gandalf and his staff, right? Was the origin from that, these beings wielding wands? Well, here's why I think this might actually be encouraging. Because there was an alien abduction experience I read about a few years ago, or listened to, where the contactee was saying that the beings had revealed to him that in some ways they were jealous of humans because our psychic abilities were unlimited in their range. They were unfocused and not as strong as the beings who were very focused and very strong, but they could only operate for a very short range. There's many contact experiences of, aliens, of gray aliens, whatever, NHI, whatever we're calling them these days, getting in people's faces and making them look into their eyes, and then they can control them. And humans seem to be able to use their gifts and their abilities at much longer ranges. In that contact experience, the being told the contactee that humans could use this, from one end of the cosmos to the other, and potentially into other dimensions and things. So I think that's encouraging that humans may have an ability that the beings don't have. We're not as focused or intense in our abilities and these psychic abilities necessarily, at least most of us, but we may be able to do it at a longer range. At an intermediate range, the beings seem to need some sort of technology to focus and harness these abilities and wield these abilities, or simply they use a technological feature to have these abilities. So they have to get right up in your face to control you, but maybe they need a wand or something to control you at a distance, potentially. Although, some of these it's kind of hard to say. I mean, Whitley Strieber was probably pretty close to that being when he used that wand. I think it tapped him on his head. Then there are accounts of hybrid beings, especially hybrid children raised here on Earth. David Jacobs, in his book Walking Among Us, has several of these encounters where they are able to use their, powers, their psychic abilities at, intermediate ranges without needing a wand or a staff. So, do hybrids have a greater power? Do they have a greater power because they are hybrids? That they can do stuff that their parents couldn't do. And maybe is that a possibility why the beings themselves have hybridized themselves with humans to gain some of our abilities? Just some thoughts, guys. I'd love to know what you think about aliens wielding wands, how that's affected our culture, what it all means. Can hybrids do stuff that their parents can't do of one side or the other? Let me know what you think about it all in the comments below. Please hit like and subscribe. Smash the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below. Or heck, I'm a fantasy and science fiction writer. I've probably written about wizards wielding staffs. So go buy one of my books. You can find the link to one of them in the description below. You can become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.